Hello everyone and welcome to this consumer YouTube channel. Today we are giving you a quite fascinating story told to us by Bill and Marilyn about their experience with the company called Georgia Sunroom.
About June 3rd, we entered into a contract with Georgia Sunroom. We had an existing porch in the back that was screened in. The concept was to come in and turn that into a four-season sunroom. They would replace the screens, put windows up, put flooring in. Underneath, they would put vinyl soffit and so forth. The contract said the work would begin 2 to 4 weeks and substantial completion in like 4 to 7 weeks. On about the 21st of June, the tear down was completed. They took down my old screens. They put up the aluminum framing. The CEO of the company came out, requested another check. So at this point, we were in it for $16,030, and told my wife and I in front of two of our friends who were essentially witnesses that he would order the windows to go in the frames the next day. They'd be in 2 weeks, and about within 3 weeks, the room would be completed. In fact, he was going to move it up in front of another project. So we said, great. Now, there was one, we did our research with the guy, and there were a couple of complaints about him. So we asked him about these complaints, and he made the statement that he had some bad crews. He fixed them all. Everything was resolved, and he doesn't understand why those complaints were still there. So, okay. So we went ahead and did business with him. He also told us that he had an illness and was going to have to go up to Tennessee to a hospital in the fall. And I said to him, I'm concerned about this. Are you going to be able to get the work done? He said, it's not going to be a problem. I'll have it done long before that. Okay. So after the tear down, approximately 75 days? 76 days went by without any work. We were told it would be done by Labor Day. It wasn't done by Labor Day. 2 weeks, he said the windows would be ordered in 2 weeks. I contacted him. You could never call him. He wouldn't answer the phone. I sent him a text, and usually you would have to send him 2 texts to get a response. So the second text comes in, and he said, I'll look into ordering the windows. I'll see. No, he said, excuse me. He said, I will look into the status of the window order. Okay. Well, unbeknownst to me, the windows were delivered prior to Labor Day, and I happened to get the invoice. And when he said that back in Friday the 19th of August, Friday the 19th of July, I found out that he had just ordered the windows on the 18th of July. And he's still telling me that he's going to look into it. So, yes, okay. So we went back and forth the whole month of July, the whole month of August. Where are my windows? What's the status? When's the crew coming? He got a little snippy in one of his emails that says, as I told you, it would be done by Labor Day. It wasn't done by Labor Day. The crew finally came out after Labor Day. It was what, the 6th?
Friday the 6th of September.
6th of September. They couldn't find the address because he gave them some kind of incomplete address. So they were riding around for hours trying to find the place. I just happened to see him because I headed down to the driveway to check on the mail. So they came up, they spent an hour looking at it, and then came back the next day. So they spent 4 days working on it, and they weren't full days. I mean, these guys wouldn't come in until about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and then pack up to leave at 4:30. So we weren't getting full days work. They put the windows in, but not all the windows. And I have pictures of each stage of this to show you. So they put the windows in, but the windows are supposed to sit inside a frame where you put screws around the outside of the flange to hold them in. Well, in some cases, they put 2 screws on each side, and that was it. And they couldn't put screws on the top because the frame wasn't measured correctly. The frame should have been lower so the window fit flush. Wasn't done. They put flooring in over my decking, didn't put enough screws in. I had to go out and screw that in. They have what they call a transom. It's like a plexiglass window below the double hung windows. Some of the framing was missing on that. They left on a Friday, telling me they were going to be back Monday. They took 2 windows out, so there was a big open gap on the deck. They left. So it's open to the weather. And fortunately, we were in a drought, and we hadn't had substantial rain in 4 or 5 weeks. I was concerned that if we did get rain, that flooring they put down, the water would get under that. It would get between the tar paper and the felt paper and my decking, cause mold, mildew, rot, whatever. I mentioned this recently to the CEO of the company. He said, "Oh, well, you could have just gotten up there and hung plastic." So, but what's interesting is every time I would ask him, or every I would send him a text, "What's the status on this?" I would get a picture back of his arm with needles in it and a hospital bracelet. I would send him another text. "What's the status of the heat pump?" I'd get a picture of his car with a dented fender and said, "I was in a wreck. I'm in the hospital." Then he'd send me a picture of it at the hospital office. The pictures, every time I would get, it was like it was almost as if he's reading me his medical report every time I text him, or once or twice I called him. Nothing's making sense with this guy. The excuses I got were family members sick for the contractors. Truck doesn't start for the contractor. I couldn't look into your windows this week because my dog had to have toe surgery. I'm having a colonoscopy. I'm at the doctor for blood work. The other contractor had a family medical emergency. His truck broke down. He tried to bring in another crew. He was going to come in Labor Day weekend, which I knew was never going to happen. And the Saturday of Labor Day weekend, I got a text from him. His truck broke down. It was a period of 24 days. 11 times in that 24 days, he told me, "Somebody will be there tomorrow to work on it." They never showed up. So we would sit here for 24 days waiting for somebody to show up, because they wouldn't come till 10 or 10:30 or 11 o'clock. Nobody showed. This went on. This went on. Well, this has gone on since June 19th. June 19th. Recently, I finally sent him a letter. I said, "Look, I can't go on like this. It's open to the weather. There's going to be damage. I'm going to take care of this myself." And we took care of it ourselves. I ordered flooring myself, which he was supposed to get and never would deliver. It was promised several times it would be delivered. I had to order extra soffit underneath. He didn't order enough. He didn't order enough screws for the windows. I mean basic stuff. And but we got it all done ourselves without him. And I told him this. And I said to him, I said, "Since we have paid you 70% of what this project's worth, and you've only done 30% of the work, I expect a refund of at least half of what I've given you. I'll look into it." And that was our last communication. So, we're not the first ones, okay? If you go back to 2011 and you check BBB, Builder Zoom, and so forth, the complaints are all the same. His excuses are all the same. It goes on and on and on. I even contacted the Consumer Affairs Department with our state's Attorney General. They sent him an email. Didn't faze him. He just keeps on doing what he's going to do. Nobody can say anything to him. He just keeps doing it. My concern is not monetarily for us, I'd like to get some money back. But more importantly than that, if somebody watches this and runs from this guy, just runs. Go to somebody else, have somebody else do it. Because you're going to go through a lot of frustration and heartache with the man. There's one other thing. I can't forget this, and I have the picture to send you. He would send us pictures of his arm with needles in it, but the very last picture he sent, and this is part of the reason I said I don't want you back here, is he sent my wife a photograph of himself naked from the waist up with his underwear showing, I guess to show how much weight he lost. And I told him, I said, yes. I said, and I have the picture to send you. And I said, this is totally inappropriate. I don't want you around my wife anymore.
Well, now, what I wanted to ask is this. So there is so much that you guys are upset about. But hey, you went online, you took the time, you wrote a review, you are now doing an interview. There must be something, that over the point, the tip point, the fill out point kind of thing that made you just, you know what? This is it. That's enough. What upsets you the most about this guy and his way of doing business?
In the state of Georgia here, I think people like this realize they can get away with stuff. There was somebody in a county near us that went out and took monies to put roofs on and never put the roofs on, and they brought him up on charges. I looked into that, but unfortunately, in this state, since he has a contract, it changes the rules. You have to hire an attorney at $5,000 to take him to court, or you can take him to small claims court. And either way, even if I win a judgment in this state, it's almost impossible to get that. And these people know that. They know that. They know they can operate like this, and chances are people aren't going to waste the time or the money to get an attorney, to go to court, to have to do that. And I think the attitude that's portrayed, knowing that, and knowing that they can, mess with people like they did us and many of the other complaints, just galls me. I mean, it's kind of like, well, you can't touch me. You can't tell me what to do. I'll do what I want. And this is the attitude I've seen. And I think that's the most upsetting thing. And that's why we're doing the interview. I mean, the only way he is a big social media fanatic. I mean, he has a website for his dog. His dead dog talks to him through his living dog from heaven. And if you say anything on his website, anything negative, he bans you from his website. I mean, he is infatuated with social media. That's why I'm doing this. The only way the only way as a consumer in the state of Georgia to deal with a business is to embarrass them, unless you have deep pockets and can sue somebody.